All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in and still chugging along here. I am Danny De La Cruz, and this is the Common Rule podcast, where we talk about the creative process. And I'm gonna get right into this one. This is one of the episodes that I've been wanting to do. One of the let's just say that this episode is what really got me to thinking about starting a podcast about the creative process and how I can contribute to a community, or how I can use my experiences to maybe help others in their creative process. And I'm going to start off with a couple of quotes here. The first quote here is by Hunter S. Thompson. And it starts off, "Who knows? If there is in fact a heaven and a hell, all we know for sure is that hell will be a viciously crowded version of Phoenix. A clean, well-lighted place full of sunshine and bromides and fast cars where almost everybody seems vaguely happy except those who know in their hearts what is missing, and being driven slowly and quietly into the kind of terminal craziness that comes from finally understanding that the one thing you want is not there, missing, backordered, no tengo, vaya con Dios, grow up, small is better, take what you can get." That's from A Generation of Swine, Tales of Shame and Degradation in the 80s. The other quote I want to read you is by, you may already know it, is by this cat, old school. His name is John Milton, and it's from the epic poem Paradise Lost. "The mind is its own place, and in itself can make a heaven of hell or a hell of heaven." All right. So what do I mean with these things? The quote from Hunter S. Thompson really hits home. I tell you what, I've been in Phoenix now. This is I count them by summers. So this is I just spent my 6th summer in Phoenix, and the first I'd say 2 or 3, I hate this town. I hated this town. It is unlike any other place I lived. Of course, these summers are unbearable. They're crazy for someone who is not acclimated. I really love music, and the type of music that I have to go and look in this town, let's just say it's not as readily available as to where I was living before. It's not really considered like Austin, where it's a music town. There is musical talent here. Actually, the thrash metal, death metal scene here is actually pretty good. But that's not my thing. I can't stand but a couple songs and then I have to bail. But I do appreciate the talent that's here. Of course, I'm into rock and roll in whatever genre, from indie pop to even a little Americana, a little twang into that. And while there are a couple of bands here that play out, there just really isn't enough of them. That's my main thing here, is that the music scene sucks. The other thing that really sucks here is Mexican food. It is abysmal. It's fucking, oh my God, there's just nothing that compares to San Diego as far as having decent fast food Mexican food here. It is, I can't tell you how bad. If you're looking for Mexican food, which is, this is the American Southwest, you expect a lot more from a town like Phoenix with a nice, heavy Mexican Latino population, but it's not here. So I went through a funk. I did not like being here. And it's not that I love being here now, but I had to change my thought process. I had to really take more personal responsibility in being a creative person and allowing myself to exhaust all the possibilities of this town. Remove all the excuses before I can really shit on this town, and before I can really say, you know what, this town fucking sucks. After I've exhausted all the creative outlets this place has to offer, then I can tell you without a doubt that this place is a shithole. But until I do that, I have to be able to, again, take responsibility. And the cliche is, be the change you want to be. You know what? That's it sounds funny, it sounds stupid, but it's one of the things that I really dove in. I said, okay, well, again, photography is my thing. and I really, really dove into photography. And then at that point, I really just dove into my niche. I love film photography, black and white, big cameras, big old cameras from the 80s, 60s, 70s. And then I just went head first into this thing. And that's the type of stuff that keeps me from going insane. Be constantly on the move as far as creating. And I tell you what, it has made a big difference. And I tell you what, it's not that I am comfortable living here. It's just that I am in a mental and emotional state of mind that it's like, okay, so if this isn't working, if this isn't here, then I got to go here, and I got to go here. I got to do this. I got to meet certain people. And that's the thing, too. I got to go out and about, go to the shows, go to the art shows, go to the local bars, from the dive bars to, there are really good music venues here with great sound, as a matter of fact. The problem that I have is that still I look at the lot of big names are still skipping Phoenix because, I don't know, there are the super duper big bands come and play the big arenas. But it's the mid-size arenas, the mid-size halls. They tend to be skipped over a lot more than I'd like. The Foo Fighters are selling out the big music venues. But when you want to see someone like the Toadies, they do come. But they had a good crowd that went, but it just wasn't as packed. And these other bands, they need to. I don't know. It just really, the music in this town is just not where I want it to be. So I decided that I wanted to do something about this. I want to connect with local bands and see if we can create a better community within ourselves. There's these bands. There's a handful of bands, and yes, we'll have. I hope to have them on and have conversations with them that are really good. They're really tight. They have a great stage presence, and they play out often enough. The issue is that by this time, I've been following a couple of bands. It's like by this time, these bands should be playing to bigger crowds, and it's just not growing, and I don't really get why. I mean, Phoenix, while it's a big town, it still seems to have a really conservative small town mentality. Which is fine. That doesn't bother me. What just bothers me is the lack of support for local bands. These bands should be filling up little places like little 200 to 300 place music halls, 500 people capacity. They should be able to fill that. In San Diego, I went through this. There's a few bands that I was hanging out with and following that had 3 people show up on a Wednesday night at some fucking dive bar in the middle of nowhere to selling out one of the coolest venues in San Diego every weekend they played. That was beautiful to see. And that was all in a span of just a couple of years. About the same time span that I followed some of these bands that are here. And I am just surprised that there just isn't so much motivation here. So I decided, and that's one of the reasons I came up with this podcast as well, to talk about the creative process and to promote the things that I love within my artistic community, whether they're models and musicians, there's a friend of mine makes great artisanal furniture. Someone else is a chef. My buddy is a branding strategist. These people I want to talk to because it's for a better community. We can all talk and we can all share and we can all help each other out. Be the spark, and until I can completely beat this fucking dead horse to the ground, and until I exhaust and squeeze every ounce of creative juice that this place has given me or this place has, then I will be able to tell you that this town sucks. It's not as easy to communicate or find a creative community as, like, say, LA or New York or Austin or San Francisco, Seattle, San Diego even, but they're here. There is a small community that supports each other, but it's really small. I am personally trying to take responsibility for, and that I'm not trying to say that I'm going to save the fucking world. That's I'm fucking definitely not delusional in that sense. I'm not going to make Phoenix the next artistic hub in the country or in the world, not by any means. But in a selfish sense, I will try to make it as comfortable for me as I possibly can, and hopefully take a few of you guys here for the ride, and so that we can all at least keep creating, so that we don't go insane, or that we find that one missing thing that we've been looking for. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening. Yeah, this one was a little different, but it lays the groundwork for what it is that I want to do from here on out. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day, and I will see you on the next time. Enjoy your youth. Bye.